Hello, thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the tarot, I'm going to use Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. There's the full box. And then if you want to see how they spell their name, there you go. There's a website here on the side, schifferbooks.com. Feel free to freeze frame and check that out if you were interested, of course. Supportive Oracle cards, spellcasting Oracle cards by Flavia, Barbara, and Lizbeth. There are their full names if you want to search them out. On the back here are the websites. I see She Who Is Art usually sticks out to me. But that way, if you want to freeze frame and check that out, feel free to. And as usual, I put my dice away. I got new dice, but I'm going to use this one again. It's Amazon. I put my dice away. I have other dice. I have like a 13-sided dice, and I got like a... Anyway, I'm using this one for the dice. I use the D20 for the Major Arcana, which does omit the World and the Fool, but I make it work. I use the D4 to choose the Minor Arcana suit, and I use the D12 to choose which number card, which goes up to Knight, but still I make it work. Alright, I think we're good with that. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. And now, onto your reading. Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Sagittarius? That's a spicy card to start with. Started right out with the Devil, although that Devil might not be holding you down. So I feel like we're acknowledging that Devil card, whatever that is. Okay. Big possibilities. Excuse me. Big possibilities. See, this Devil thing here, something is blocking you, but maybe this is why the Devil isn't that bad, because it's destined to get out of your way at some point. I'm going to say destined. Alright, the Devil. We got to deal with the Devil. There have been changes. Like this is, I feel like we're dealing with two different things, but they're actually related. They just might not seem related right now. There's been a lot of things that have left your life. I feel like over the last year, for those of you this is really going to hit with, could be in a shorter time frame, but an average about a year, you've had a lot of things just, whatever used to be there are no longer there. And whatever we're dealing with, this does not seem like it's related to whatever is causing you concern, but ironically it is. Because with these things getting out of your way, your energy is freeing up and things are starting to flow differently than before. You're handling things differently. By these problems ending and getting out of the way, I feel a rejuvenated sense of hope and kind of like I'm not putting up with things that I used to before. It is affecting a few different areas of your life. It just may not seem it because it's kind of like, well, that was its own situation. It's kind of like, well, that was a bread maker. And the bread maker versus me writing, what does that have to do with anything? But like the bread maker getting rid of it, no longer dealing with that process, you've no longer decided you're going to put up with it and put on all this effort for somebody else. So it's kind of like all that you've given up, that you've gotten rid of, it's not only freed up your time, but it's freed up your mind, kind of like, I'm not getting myself into that type of thing again. That wasn't working for me. I tried to make something work that I really didn't want to make work. So now I'm doing something different. The Devil. Okay. There's a lot of earth energy coming in with it too. 3 of Pentacles, man holding a coin, and then the Devil is an earth card. Can talk about Capricorn, doesn't have to. If it's talking of more of a Capricorn energy, it talks about boundaries. It talks about unwillingness to bend with boundaries and the swift and severe consequences for violating boundaries. So It could be a situation where it's very like, there's only so far. It might also not just be like there's a boundary you can't go past, but there might be like you're expected to get this far, no more, no less. It might be one of those things. All right, we're working with it. Whatever the situation is, you are moving forward in it. It doesn't feel like it right now is what I'm also getting. You are moving forward with it. It doesn't feel like it. I know. I keep getting that. Two of Wands, the Death card, half in, half out, and you, the Temperance card. That talks about Sagittarius a lot. This is actually going into a season of your benefit. A season of your benefit. I feel like you already know what you need to do with this. It's not about knowing, it's about just doing it. For some of you, this might be holding to a plan. That might be another reason the Devil card is showing up with the Three of Pentacles and the man holding a coin. Holding something and making myself stick to a plan. Sagittarius is naturally just kind of like, let's just keep going, let's just keep moving. You're more free, you're more open, you're very advantageous to people, and you get a lot done. Like, you kind of do it when you need to do it. I don't feel Sagittarius is usually overstructured. But they're saying, well, with this situation, for the next season, you got to get some structure in there, and you got to hold yourself to it. I feel like this is something I already know. If this reading's going to hit, it's kind of like, yeah, I know. If you get yourself into this structure, it's not going to be permanent, for one. It's not going to be permanent. It feels like it will, and it's kind of like, I can't live my whole life that way. True, I agree. But for a short period, to get you out of this energy into where you want to be, getting you away from that Devil energy, this will get you away from that Devil energy. It's almost like the Devil doesn't think you have the guts to do it. But you do. I don't want to do it. I keep getting like, I don't want to have that type of structure. Like, that's really suffocating. It kind of feels like it's suffocating. Like, I don't like living that way. I don't like doing that. Like, every day the same thing at the same time. I don't want to live that way. But through that heartbreak of having to do it that way, you're gonna break the whatever's holding you back. Right side up, it says all tied up. Reversed, it means you're getting loose of some problem. Holding yourself to that. It's not forever. It's not forever. Which hopefully that's more of a light at the end of the tunnel type energy. Hopefully. For some reason, I'm a person that more thrives with structure. I'm just that one. Especially if I create my own structure and I hold myself to it. Do you have the ability... Okay. Because, like, my structure is, like, I have, like, morning goals, afternoon goals, evening goals. So I kind of have that leeway in it. But, like, I'm getting, like, this is more structured, what you need to do. They're also saying you know what you need to do. So we're going to keep going. So... this has to go on for a while. I don't know. It's subjective to what you're dealing with. You're going to get to this part where you're kind of used to it, but it's not working anymore. You're going to notice it's going to hold on for a while, but there's going to be a point where you're going to realize it's not working for you in a while. Like, if you do this and you hold to the structure and you keep doing it, you'll do better and you'll keep doing better, and then all of a sudden it'll just kind of plateau. And it'll just stagnate. What they're saying don't do, what they're advising you to not do, is to not just walk away and just try something else at that moment. It's going to be tempting to do so. Kind of like, well, I got this far, it's not progressing anymore, I don't like it anyway, I don't like this overstructure, so I guess I'll just go do something else, I'll just switch it up. They're saying don't do that. Don't start off with that. That's like what they're saying, don't do that, because you might lose more than you want. The advice is Page of Wands, which is the Page of Fire, and then the Seven of Cups. Keep going with what you're doing, but start thinking about how you can restructure this in a more loose way. So, like, I feel like I was ahead of myself on that. Because, like, I'm that type of person. Like, I have morning goals, I have afternoon goals, and I have evening goals, if you will. That's just what works for me. So let's make it really good. Say you get up at 6. So from 6 to noon, that's one period. From noon to 6 is afternoon, for example, and then from 6 to midnight is the third one, just if it is. Just for argument's sake. I know that's a little, whatever. You might kind of like keep yourself in a structure like this has to be done, but like maybe there's 4 different things that have to be done in the morning. There's 5 different things that have to be done in the afternoon, and there's 3 things that have to be done in the evening. I'm also a person like I let like the 4 things in the morning, they have to be done before noon. Can I move some things up that are from the afternoon or the evening? Yes, that's fine. But I make sure that the 4 that have to be done in the morning are done in the morning. And then same thing with the afternoon. Those 5 things have to be done before 6. Can I do some stuff from the evening list? Yes, as long as those 5 things are also done before 6. You might want to kind of advance it that way, because I do see that like I have to get some more spontaneity into it, but I have to keep the structure as much as possible. I have to keep the structure as much as possible. For some of you, that might be like work goals are work goals, but like there's personal goals. It just maybe like before the day ends, I have to make sure I get certain personal goals done, something like that. It's restructuring your victory to not lose your victory. Because if you just kind of go, I'm bored with this, I'm just going to try something different now because I'm not getting the advancement I want. You also don't want to lose the accomplishments you've already achieved. You know what I mean? You don't want to lose those. So they're like, restructure it. Start playing with the restructuring at that point when it doesn't seem to be advancing anymore, but don't play with the structure until you get there. So it's almost like the structure getting me there, it's like, it just feels like it's so bullet pointed out that it's driving me nuts. It's kind of like, you know, at 1 o'clock I do this, at 3 o'clock I do that, at 5 o'clock I do this, at 7 o'clock I do this. And every day it's the same thing. Every day it's the same thing, and every day it's the same thing. And I don't really like it, but I'm seeing the advancement, and I'm getting myself out of a pickle, whatever that pickle is. But then at one point, it's kind of like, even though I'm doing it the same way, it's just like I'm not advancing out of anything anymore. I just got so far, and it's not advancing. But I don't want to lose what I have. So that's when I'm kind of like, well, I'm going to add some other things in, but I'm going to move it to the morning list, the afternoon list, the evening list, whatever. You might have the ability to kind of like, all right, you know what? These things have to be done by Wednesday, this has to be done by Friday, and this other thing has to be done on the weekend. It might advance to that type of thing as well, as long as I keep up with what I have to do and I don't lose my total structure. I can play with it once it goes stagnant, once it doesn't keep advancing. Keeping some version of structure from that point on, it's not the easiest thing to do, but the longer you're able to do, I feel like there's a way you can find to do it and keep it. Because it's kind of like playing with the structure, but always making sure that like certain things, like I'm keeping an eye on it. And it's like sometimes they're daily goals, sometimes they're weekly goals, sometimes it's every 3 days, stuff like that. You'll get what you want with the Ace of Cups and being very self-sufficient. You'll get what you actually want. There's an element of structure that needs to stay in this situation for you to have long-term success. When you stagnate, though, you got to learn ways to play with the structure without losing the structure. You know what I mean? It's kind of like revamping the building without changing the structure of the building, if that makes sense. It's kind of like if you have 4 floors in this building, you know, the lobby is always where everybody walks in, but maybe there's different places on the first floor where we can move the lobby around. Whatever's on the first floor, could those other things be moved to other floors? Can we bring other things in? Can we move other things out? We never really changed the actual building, but maybe we changed the color of it in the floor plan and what's on this floor and what's on that floor, but we never really damaged the building, if you follow me. Hopefully that makes sense. There's always going to need some semblance of structure if you want this to be a long-term success. So I feel like this is a lot, but what I'm getting is like from whatever's going on, I feel like we're starting off to get away from the devil, to get out of that devil card, a high level of structure. Like You know, 1 o'clock is this, 3 o'clock is this, 5 o'clock is this, 7 o'clock is this. And we stick with it until it plateaus. Once it plateaus, we have to keep an eye on it. And it's like we have to make sure things keep getting done, but that's when we can play with when and how, but still keeping to some form of structure. And you will have the success you need. All right. I feel like that's the best I can do with it. It does feel like it's a kind of a complicated read, but hopefully it made sense. Anything else? I'm going to shut this down here. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.